You didn't expect the name Karmelo Anthony to land on your desk twice in 1 week, once in connection to a murder investigation, and again in a federal case involving luxury real estate fraud. It's not the kind of name that shows up in a courtroom, let alone two. But here it was, stamped on a police report and on a financial fraud indictment. The murder was grisly, but the fraud? It was colder, calculated, the kind that doesn't spill blood but still ruins lives. Early morning, June 17th, a 911 call reports two loud bangs at Rivermount Residences. Apartment 4B, that's Karmelo's place. When officers arrive, he's not there. The unit is suspiciously spotless, almost staged, but a faint chemical odor hangs in the air. Bleach, the kind used when someone wants to erase something. There's no body, no blood, just silence, except for the security footage that should have been there, but mysteriously went missing. According to neighbors, Karmelo was seen dragging a suitcase into his black SUV around midnight. By noon, detectives are 40 miles outside the city, standing over a body dumped near a drainage ditch. No ID, no face left, but inside a designer suitcase, one that matches a missing set from Karmelo's apartment, are human remains, and a monogrammed blanket identical to one in his living room. Forensics start connecting threads. Meanwhile, across town, federal agents are unsealing documents showing Karmelo's parents sold a $30 million mansion under false ownership, moving money through shell companies and fake escrow accounts. The scandal broke the same week the body was found. Two crimes, one family. The question no one wants to ask: how deep does it go? You pull the court transcripts on the mansion sale and immediately feel the weight of something bigger. Karmelo's parents, Joseph and Renetta Anthony, aren't amateurs. Joseph once chaired a regional housing development board. Renetta ran a boutique real estate firm, mostly dealing in high-end properties. The $30 million estate they sold? Turns out it wasn't theirs to sell. The real owner died 3 years ago, and the deed had quietly been altered through forged legal documents and a false notary. The buyer, a Russian investor, wired the funds through an offshore account. Now the money's gone, and the Anthonys are facing wire fraud, conspiracy, and federal real estate fraud charges. Still, none of it explained the body in the ditch, until a name surfaced: Nathan Belridge, a private money broker, former financial associate of the Anthonys, arrested in 2019 for securities fraud, but quietly released on a plea deal. He vanished from public records soon after. No driver's license renewals, no employment history, no taxes filed, just gone. Now, investigators believe he might be the man in the suitcase. What ties it together? A single phone call, logged 72 hours before the murder, placed from a burner phone registered under an alias. That number pinged near Karmelo's condo at least twice in the days leading up to the murder. Then there's the wire transfer. $2.4 million moved from one of Renetta Anthony's shell companies to a Cayman Islands account linked to Belridge's holding firm. The timing is too tight. The silence from the family? Deafening. You look at the evidence board: a dead man, a vanishing fortune, and a family drowning in secrets, and Karmelo still nowhere to be found. You return to the station the next morning and find a post-it stuck to the corner of your desk. Visitor, no appointment, said she used to date him. You don't need the name, you already know who him is. The woman waiting in the interview room introduces herself as Elise Marlowe. Early 30s, nervous fingers, expensive shoes, says she dated Karmelo for nearly a year, off and on. Claims she hasn't seen him in over 2 weeks. At first it sounds routine, an ex looking to clear her name or stir up drama. But then she places a flash drive on the table, wrapped in tissue paper like it might explode. He gave me this, she says. Told me if anything happened to him, or if the news broke about his parents, I should give it to someone he doesn't trust. You plug it in. Dozens of PDFs, transaction records, emails, account screenshots, most link back to shell companies associated with the $30 million mansion fraud. But there's something else. A folder labeled SENTRY. Inside are 3 surveillance clips, grainy but clear enough to make out faces. In one, Joseph Anthony is speaking heatedly with a man in a parking garage. Same man found dead in the suitcase? Could be. The second video shows Renetta handing off a large envelope to someone wearing gloves in a dimly lit hotel hallway. The third video shows Karmelo himself, sitting in a car, watching. You glance up at Elise. Why would he give this to you? Her answer is immediate. Because he didn't know who to trust anymore. Not even his own parents. You stare at the screen, watching that third clip again. Karmelo in the driver's seat, engine running, eyes fixed on the hotel exit. He doesn't look nervous. He looks resigned, like someone who knew what was about to happen but chose not to stop it. That car, now confirmed as registered to his name, was caught on traffic cams just hours before the body was found. He drove north, took the long route, avoided toll roads, and shut his phone off for nearly 6 hours. The timeline fits too perfectly. You no longer believe he stumbled into this. He was a part of it. A warrant is issued for Karmelo's arrest, but finding him is another story. He's wiped himself clean. No phone records, no bank activity. His condo is untouched except for the one thing someone missed. A ripped photograph buried under a drawer in his office. It's old, frayed. Shows Karmelo, a younger Nathan Belridge, and Joseph Anthony at what looks like a beach house. The handwriting on the back reads, Galveston, 2014. No more secrets. So much for that. Meanwhile, Joseph and Renetta are doubling down. Their attorney is a shark, says their son is mentally unstable and hasn't been in contact with them for months. The press eats it up. Headlines shift from fraud to tragedy. Karmelo becomes the troubled heir. The narrative changes overnight, and suddenly, you're not just hunting a suspect. You're chasing someone the public wants to believe is a victim. But you've seen the footage. You've seen the silence in his eyes. And you know this isn't about mental health. It's about loyalty and how far someone will go to protect a lie. You send the photo for analysis, but you already know the answer. The man in the middle of that picture, the one smiling between Karmelo and Joseph, was Nathan Belridge. The body in the suitcase, now confirmed through dental records, leaves no doubt. He didn't just disappear from the financial world, he was silenced. The forensic report rules cause of death as blunt force trauma to the skull. But there's a detail that sticks with you. His wrists were bound after he was already unconscious. That tells you this wasn't about rage, it was about control. The question still burning is why Karmelo would be involved. That flash drive from Elise painted part of the picture, but you're still missing the motive. Then the Cayman wire transfer resurfaces. A leak from an anonymous source, possibly inside the bank, shows an additional transaction, one not listed in Karmelo's original files. A $300,000 payment sent to a private investigator named Dominic Fraser, flagged by the FBI 2 years ago for ties to corporate blackmail rings. Now he's missing too. You track down Fraser's office. It's been cleared out, except for one locked filing cabinet, left behind and overlooked by whoever ran. Inside, you find burner phone receipts, stakeout notes, and photographs of Nathan Belridge meeting privately with federal agents. The dates are recent, weeks before his death. Nathan was cooperating, possibly turning state's witness in the fraud case, which means Karmelo didn't just watch this unfold. He knew Nathan was going to flip, and that makes him not just an accomplice, but a possible executioner, or worse, someone who acted out of fear, not loyalty. Either way, the clock's running, and the trail is getting colder. You start seeing him everywhere, on gas station cameras, highway toll scans, convenience store reflections. Karmelo's face flashes for half a second in a New Mexico rest stop security feed. Clean-shaven, hoodie up, eyes down. He's traveling alone. No phone, no cards, no slip-ups. He knows how to disappear, which is strange, considering he's never had to before. Privilege like his doesn't usually prepare someone to vanish, unless he was preparing for this all along. The fraud case against Joseph and Renetta is gaining momentum. Prosecutors are building the narrative. A family empire founded on forged deeds, shadow buyers, and dead investors. But the media can't stop circling the murder. You get a call from a federal agent who's been watching the Anthony family for years. He's blunt. They've buried things before. You just finally found the one they couldn't. There's new movement on the case. Elise, Karmelo's ex, receives a package. No return address. Inside, a burner phone, a note with her name scrawled in block letters, and a flash of memory she can't forget. I can't protect them anymore. That's all it says. The phone has one contact saved. You trace the phone's last known signal, pinged just outside a storage unit in Nevada. You send a team. Inside the locker, there's no body, no weapon, just 3 items: a duffel bag full of cash, a stained hammer wrapped in canvas, and a manila envelope with Joseph Anthony's signature at the bottom of a signed affidavit. The document? A full confession, dated 3 days before Nathan Belridge was killed. So now the question isn't who killed Nathan. It's why that document never saw the light of day, and who made sure of it. You hold the affidavit in gloved hands. It's signed, notarized, dated, legally admissible. Joseph Anthony admits to defrauding multiple international buyers, laundering money through over a dozen shell accounts, and most importantly, paying Nathan Belridge to keep silent after the scheme began to unravel. But the last paragraph is different. It's not about money, it's about fear. He names Nathan as a threat, says the man had leverage, and that if anything happened to Nathan, it wouldn't be by his hand. The paper shakes slightly as you read it again, because now you know this wasn't about protecting the family legacy. This was about survival. Nathan had turned, and somewhere in the middle of all that tension, someone silenced him. But if Joseph didn't kill him, and Renetta never left the city that night, the evidence points back to one person, Karmelo. The timeline fits too well. His disappearance after the murder, the burner phone sent to Elise, the evidence he left behind, just enough to suggest guilt, but not enough to confirm it. Like someone who wanted the truth to almost be found, but never proven. You ask yourself again, was he a pawn in his parents' empire, or the one who made sure their secrets stayed buried? Weeks pass, then months. The storage unit evidence is submitted. The fraud case explodes. Joseph and Renetta Anthony are denied bail. Elise goes silent. Karmelo remains missing. Sometimes, late at night, you replay the surveillance footage, the one where he's just sitting in the car, watching the hotel door, not moving, not speaking, just waiting, and you wonder what he was waiting for. Justice? Revenge? Or maybe the one thing that's never easy to trace in cases like these, escape.